Hi, in this video we'll be looking at multiplying decimals by 10, 100 or even 1,000. Alright, so if we are asked to multiply 0.2 by 10, the easiest thing to do is to convert the 0.2 into a fraction and obviously the 10 into a fraction and then just multiply them out. So it looks something like this. 0.2 as a fraction is 2 over 10. And 10 as a fraction would be 10 over 1. And then, as we know with our multiplication of fractions, we multiply 2 by 10, that gives us 20. And we multiply the 10 by 1, and that gives us 10. And then we simplify this fraction over here by saying, how many times does 10 go into 20? Well, 10 goes into 20 twice. And that is in fact 0.2, okay, multiplied by 10 is in fact 2. So what has happened to this decimal over here, by multiplying it by 10, we've moved the decimal place one position to the right, because multiplication is making a number bigger. Alright, so 0.2 gets bigger by one decimal place because there's 1 0. So all we need to do, in fact, is if we think about it, without doing any multiplication or showing any workings, we can simply move that decimal place 1 to the right, and that will equal 2. Alright, so what do we do if we have a decimal into the 100th position multiplied by 10? Well, pretty much exactly the same procedure. We go and we convert the 0.12 into a fraction. And we know that 0.12 is the same as 12 over 100. And why is it over 100? Well, the 2 is in the 100th position. That's why we write it over 100. Multiplied by, we turn the 10 into a fraction. And now we can simplify our fraction. We can knock off that 0 and that 0 over there. And we can say 12 multiplied by 1, and that equals 12. And 10 multiplied by 1 is 10. And then we simplify this fraction by saying 10 goes into 12, well, it goes in once, and what is left over, well, it's 2 over 10. And then just reminding you that 2 tenths on our number line, which is over here, is equivalent to 0.2. So we can in fact simply write is equal to 1.2. Alrighty, and if you've got that, you've got it 100% correct. Well done. Alright, well, here's one for you to do. We have a decimal into the 1,000th position multiplied by 10. See if you can sort it out. Put the video on pause and come back when you're ready. Alright, well, this is what you should have. We've converted our decimal, which is in the 1,000th position, okay, to a fraction over 1,000 multiplied by 10 over 1, and we've turned the 10 into a fraction. We've simplified, and we've then multiplied by 349 by 1, which gives us that over there, and 100 multiplied by 1, which is 100. We simplified this fraction. We said 100 goes into 349 3 times, with 49 over 100 as a remainder, and we know that 49 over 100 is the same as 0.49, so we've written the 0.49 in there. We've got our 3, which is our whole number, and therefore our answer is correct. Well done. Right, what happens if we multiply 0.2 by 100? Well, nothing really changes. We do exactly what we've done before. Turn our decimal into a fraction, so that'll be 2 over 10, and our 100 becomes 100 over 1 because we're turning that into a fraction as well. We can, if we want to, do some in-fraction simplification, but I'm just going to simply multiply 2 by 100, and that gives me 200. And 10 by 1 gives me 10, and I'm going to simplify this fraction over here, and I'm going to say how many times does 10 go into 200? Well, in fact, it goes in 20 times, and that is my answer. Right, so what happens if we want to multiply a whole number, which is 1.2 multiplied by 100? What do we want to do? Basically, we just split up this little decimal, and we say, well, 1 multiplied by 100 gives me 100. So I'll just write that in. So that's 100 plus what is 0.2 multiplied by 100? Well, we've just done it over here. So I'll just write that in again. So that'll be 2 over 10 multiplied by 100 over 1. And as I said, we've just done this particular sum over here, all right, which is this, all the way down, simplified down to there, which is 20. So 100 plus 20 gives me 120, and that would be correct. Right, well, here's one for you to have a go at. We're actually going to multiply it by 1,000 this time. So we've got a whole number, point, or a decimal to the 10th position, and we're going to multiply it by 1,000. All right, put the video on pause, come back and check your working, see if you got it right. All right, well, you should end up with 1,200. But how did we get there? Well, 1.2, we split up that particular decimal. So 1 multiplied by 1,000, which is what I've done over here. And we've said 0.2 multiplied by 1,000, which is 2 over 10, because that's in the 10th position, multiplied by 1,000 over 1. We've done some in-fraction simplification. And we've then said 1 by 1,000 is 1,000. Added to 2 by 100 is 200, and 1 multiplied by 1 is 1. So that becomes 1,000 add 200, and the answer therefore is 1,200, and well done. So finally, just confirming that if you're multiplying a number, it actually gets bigger. And in this case, 0.2 multiplied by 10 is going to be 2, and what we're doing is moving the decimal place one place to the right, because there is 1 0. In the case of multiplying it by 100, there are 2 zeros, so we move it to the right 2 places, and it becomes 20. In this case, we're multiplying it by 1,000, so 3 places, so moving it 3 places to the right, and by 10,000, we're moving it to the right 4 places to equal 2,000. And that's pretty much what is involved with multiplying a decimal by 10, 100, and 1,000.